Imagine you're on a mission deep in hostile space. Your shields are barely holding, and out of nowhere, an enemy squadron ambushes you. Your ship takes a critical hit, and you're forced to eject. Now what? Filing a quick insurance claim might not even be an option, and even if it is, that's a big decision. What if you had to deal with the aftermath in a whole new way? Today we're diving into Star Citizen's evolving insurance system. As CIG continues to push for a more immersive experience, ship insurance isn't just going to be a quick claim and reset option. With the upcoming Death of a Spaceman system, we're starting to see what could be the beginning of death of a spaceship, adding weight and consequence to losing your ship. Let's start with what CIG has already confirmed about ship insurance. Right now, losing a ship isn't too big of a deal. You just file a claim, wait a bit, and you're back in the pilot's seat. But CIG is reworking this so that insurance choices actually feel impactful, making us value our ships more and think twice before putting them at risk. They're introducing 3 tiers of insurance, each offering different levels of coverage to fit various playstyles and budgets. Now, Tier 1 chassis insurance is a entry-level insurance that only covers the core structure or chassis of your ship. If you go down in a battle or crash, this tier provides a payout based on the ship's age, condition, and wear. It's the most basic option and ideal for those looking to cut costs, but if you're flying something expensive or heavily customized, this might not be enough. Tier 2 chassis and component insurance steps it up. This mid-tier option covers not only the hull, but also major systems like engines, shields, and weapons. Imagine losing a high-value component on your ship. Without this coverage, replacing it could be costly. This insurance level provides some protection for your most valuable ship components. Tier 3 chassis, component, and decoration insurance is the top-tier insurance for a fully loaded ship. Not only does it cover the hull and core components, but it also restores customizations and decorations, so your ship comes back exactly as you left it. For those looking to personalize their ships with unique skins and upgrades, this is the best option. It's supposedly pricier, but it ensures that your ship returns looking just like it did before. Each of these tiers comes at a different cost, allowing players to choose the level of security that matches their risk tolerance, playstyle, and budget. Now let's talk about warranties, a new layer of protection that's key to the upcoming insurance system. If you purchase a ship through the pledge store with real-world money, or if you've earned and applied a transferable warranty in-game, your ship will always remain on your account. Even if it's destroyed without insurance, it's still recoverable, but there is a catch. Without active insurance, recovering a destroyed ship without a warranty will come with an additional in-game cost. This means you'll pay in-game credits for a replacement instead of filing a standard insurance claim. Now, it's important to note that this fee likely won't be as high as buying an entirely new ship, but it'll cost more than if you had insurance to cover it. So it's definitely something to keep in mind if you're deciding to operate without insurance. When the system is fully implemented, though, you'll be able to track the insurance and warranty status of your ship directly in-game. Anytime you summon a ship without active insurance, you'll get a clear warning reminding you of the risks involved. So operating without insurance becomes a deliberate and very noticeable choice. You'll know the potential costs, but ultimately the decision to go without insurance is yours. And for those in-game earned warranties, keep in mind that they come with a cooldown period if you want to transfer them between ships. This adds a strategic layer as you can't freely swap warranties from ship to ship, and you'll need to think carefully about which ships deserve that extra protection. Now let's dive into claim timers. CIG is making these timers scale up with the size and type of ship. Starter and smaller ships will still have relatively short claim times, but as you move up to larger vessels, you'll see much longer waits. This scaling is intentional. It encourages players to retrieve and repair their ships rather than constantly filing claims. This is where retrieving, towing, and repairing come into play. Instead of just filing a claim and getting a fresh ship, you'll have much more incentive to go back, recover your ship, or even patch it up on site if possible. Claim timers combined with a longer repair time for bigger ships put more weight on your choices. Do we take the time to salvage and repair, or do we take the hit and wait out that claim timer? And of course, for those times that you do want to go and get your ship, CIG is going to introduce courtesy shuttles. Think of these like rental cars, but in Star Citizen. You'll be able to use these shuttles to get back to your last ship location, making it easier to retrieve your ship if it's somewhere you'd rather not abandon. This system adds immersion, making it feel like you're truly managing a fleet rather than simply resetting at a terminal. If you're finding this breakdown helpful and want more content on Star Citizen's evolving mechanics, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've covered everything from official updates to unique ideas that could change the game. And remember to stick around because up next, I'll dive into some personal ideas I think could take Star Citizen's insurance system to a whole new level. All right, so now that we've covered CIG's official system, let's get into some ideas of my own. Remember, these are just my concepts for enhancing the insurance system, nothing official. But I think these could add new depth to ship ownership, making every decision matter. First up, I'd love to see Star Citizen implement different ownership states for ships, each adding unique gameplay possibilities. So here's what I'm thinking. Owned is the basic state when a ship is fully owned by a player. Now, when you file an insurance claim, your lost ship switches to salvageable. This means the ship can be retrieved as part of a mission that other players or NPCs could take on. By making your lost ship available as salvage, it adds an element where your ship lost becomes a mission for someone else. If another player accepts the salvage mission, the ship's state changes to claimed, meaning it's now their salvage target and they have the legal rights to it. If no one takes on the salvage mission within a set time, the ship enters a derelict state, making it open for any player to claim as salvage without restrictions. If a ship is taken illegally or involved in insurance fraud, it's flagged as stolen. This makes it risky to operate, as law enforcement and NPCs might actively track stolen ships and issue consequences to those caught flying them. These states would add a dynamic layer to the insurance system, giving every ship a status that affects how it interacts with players, NPCs, and missions across the game. Now let's quickly talk about the salvage mission system. Here's how it could work. Once you file a claim, the ship changes to salvageable, opening a mission for others to retrieve it. When someone picks up this mission, it moves to claimed, and they can legally salvage it. If they succeed, they get the payout and the rights to what's left. Now, if no one picks it up in time, the ship changes to derelict, and it can be salvaged by anyone. Now, this system could add another layer of immersion and make every lost ship an opportunity for exploration and adventure for others. Imagine flying around and coming across derelict ships, each with a backstory of a mission or battle gone wrong. One of the ideas I'm most excited about is insurance fraud. Picture this: you file an insurance claim, get a replacement ship, and then sneak back to where you lost the original to recover it yourself. This would mark the ship as stolen, meaning if you're caught, you could face serious consequences. The penalties could range from fines to reputation loss and even jail time if you're operating in a secure zone. However, in low security or lawless zones, you might be able to pull it off without consequences, creating a high-risk, high-reward scenario that adds tension and excitement to the game. Now, for players wanting to get a bit more creative, there could also be a mechanic to spoof ship registration. Imagine being able to temporarily disguise the digital ID of a stolen ship to avoid detection. However, if law enforcement inspects the ship's physical serial number, your cover is blown and you're caught. This could make operating in low security zones ideal for questionable ships, while making things tense if you enter a high security area. If you're caught, the penalties could be harsh: hefty fines, possible jail time, and a major hit to your reputation. Spoofing registration would add a cat and mouse element to Star Citizen, where players would need to weigh the risks of flying a hot ship and carefully plan where they operate. Let's talk about system-based laws and reputation. Imagine a scenario where you commit insurance fraud or get caught flying a stolen ship in Stanton. Your reputation takes a hit, but it doesn't just stop there. Other systems with similar laws and enforcement might also recognize your record, even if they don't pursue you immediately. Your reputation would follow you, impacting where you're allowed to dock, what missions you can access, and the costs associated with repairs and refueling. For instance, a law-abiding system like Terra might deny you access to certain services or hit you with higher fees if you have a criminal record in Stanton. This interconnected reputation system could make certain areas of the verse much more dangerous for wanted players. encouraging them to operate in low security zones while adding a sense of accountability and consequence across Star Citizen's universe. Now here's a thought I have on how insurance could make losing a ship feel even more meaningful. Recently on the Answer the Call podcast, Salty Mike, Croncy, and Space Cutlet had a great discussion on this, and I think they're really on point. They were talking about how the insurance system could be designed to make losses significant, and I completely agree with their ideas. This approach could be exactly what Star Citizen needs to balance the importance of insurance while still creating real consequences when you lose something valuable. In Star Citizen, pledge store purchase ships are valuable, and when you file a claim, you currently get them back as they were. But what if instead of receiving your ship in its fully upgraded state, you only get back a basic Tier 1 version? Imagine that you've upgraded your combat ship with high-end armor, powerful weapons, and specialized components, making it a Tier 5 beast. You head into a risky mission, confident in your upgrades, but things don't go as planned. Your ship is destroyed and you're forced to file an insurance claim. Now, even though you get the ship back, it's a bare-bones Tier 1 version since you had a warranty. No high-end upgrades, no specialized components. You'd still have your ship, but you'd feel the impact of that loss. This approach would make losing a ship significant, as it would mean that you'd need to reinvest in upgrades to bring it back to its former power. In my view, only ships with warranties should be eligible for replacements. If your ship is destroyed and covered by a warranty, you'd receive a Tier 1 version of the ship as a replacement, even if it was previously upgraded. As for components, decorations, weapons, armor, and other gear, I believe players should not receive direct replacements for these items upon loss. Instead, insurance should only provide a UEC payout based on the value of those lost items, requiring players to repurchase or re-earn those items through trading, crafting, or missions. Now, CIG hasn't clarified whether components or other items will be replaced under the insurance system, but I think this approach would make losses feel significant and add depth to gameplay. For example, if you lose a crafted item, you'll need to find a crafter to replace it or craft it yourself if you have the necessary blueprints and skills. If the item was a unique mission reward, an insurance claim wouldn't bring it back to you. Instead, you'd need to repeat the mission to earn that reward again. This would make unique and rare items feel more valuable and encourage players to carefully consider the risks of bringing high-value gear into dangerous areas. Currently, CIG's insurance tiers only cover chassis, components, and decorations on ships. But it's interesting to think about how future updates might extend Tier 2 or 3 insurance to protect high-value items on your character as well. Now, this system would also place more emphasis on player trading and crafting. If losing upgraded items or ships means you only get back basic replacements, then players will naturally turn to skilled crafters for advanced gear or specialized upgrades. Imagine a vibrant marketplace where players with high crafting skills create and sell advanced items to those who have lost their valuable assets. This interdependence could be a huge driving force for a player-driven economy, where rebuilding after losses would become a central gameplay loop. For example, if you've lost a fully upgraded combat ship, you might seek out a skilled crafter who can help you restore it to its previous state. Or if your specialized armor set is destroyed, you'd turn to a player who can craft those unique enhancements for you. It creates a market where both seasoned crafters and traders become essential for rebuilding and upgrading, adding more meaning and connection within the community. On the other hand, this would also encourage players to develop their own crafting abilities. Knowing that insurance only returns basic items, players might want to improve their crafting skills so they can rebuild lost upgrades themselves. This would add a layer of personal skill progression, where those who invest in crafting could maintain high-end gear more easily after losses. Imagine being able to repair and upgrade your own ships and equipment, knowing that even if you lose something valuable, you can restore it on your own terms. This would add depth to gameplay, making the choice to invest in crafting and trading a strategic one with real benefits. Looking ahead, this kind of system could also impact other areas of gameplay, like a potential black market for stolen or salvaged items. Imagine if certain high-end gear could be recovered from derelict or stolen ships, and then could be sold discreetly. creating a whole sub-economy around recovered goods. Players could specialize in salvaging and reselling items, with different systems or locations offering varying risks and rewards based on the local laws or security levels. The system could also bring a new dynamic to salvage and recovery missions. Say you find a derelict ship that was fully upgraded before it was abandoned or destroyed. Salvaging that ship or its components could allow you to gather high-value parts, making salvaging not only profitable, but also an important part of the economy, where players can recover rare or valuable materials for use or trade. Finally, by adding consequences to losses, the system would naturally discourage reckless behavior. Players would need to think twice before taking high-value ships or rare equipment into dangerous territory. For instance, if you're planning on exploring a high-risk zone, you might weigh the costs of potentially losing your upgraded ship. This could encourage more thoughtful gameplay where players actively work to mitigate risks, strategize their loadouts, and consider the consequences of their actions. So there you have it, a look at Star Citizen's upcoming insurance mechanics, from CIG's confirmed plans to some ideas of my own, and from the Answer the Call podcast that could add even more depth and immersion to the game. CIG's system already promises a more strategic approach to managing your fleet, with options for different levels of coverage, warranties, and scaling claim timers that encourage players to think twice before abandoning a ship. But imagine if these new mechanics, limited insurance replacement tiers, salvage states, insurance fraud, system-based law enforcement, and the role of player trading and crafting came into play. Losing a ship would no longer be a quick reset, but a real moment of consequence, where you'd have to consider your options, weigh the risks, and make strategic decisions. Every ship, weapon, and armor set would feel like a true asset, worth protecting and recovering, not just a disposable tool. Now, I'd love to hear what you think. Would these additions make Star Citizen's insurance system more immersive, or do you think they'd be too intense? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you like the idea of added risks, or would it make gameplay too complex? And if you're as excited about the future of Star Citizen as I am, consider joining the channel as a member. Your support helps me bring you more in-depth content like this. Plus, members get exclusive perks and early access to my videos. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I think that you'll love the one that I linked at the end. It covers player-owned space stations, giving you even more insight into the future of Star Citizen. Thanks for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse. Havoc out.